Get your comfy clothes on, grab a drink, grab a pillow, grab a snack, grab a blanket, because it's story time. So thank you guys for taking time out of your day to come watch my randomness. As you guys can tell from the title below, that this video is about period horror stories. If you do not want to hear about it, you think it's disgusting, please take a moment and kindly just leave, because I don't want to, deal with complaining or whatever. I mean, it was you who clicked the video out of your own curiosity. So if you don't want to hear about it, then just go. Thank you. I'm gonna start out with my first horror story. Like any other girl, the first period is always gonna be the first period horror story because it's unpredictable. It just happens, So, mine started back when I was in 6th grade. I was in the middle of school, doing schoolwork, minding my own business. It was quiet in the classroom. It was a nice day, and it was just after lunch. So, I thought I was having a stomach ache, which was weird because I had eaten the most solid food that there was. So I was like, maybe it's the milk. I couldn't focus on my work anymore. So I just sat there in pain, and luckily I was far from the teacher, so she didn't notice I had stopped working for a bit because I wasn't wanting to deal with trouble because my stomach was hurting so bad. So it was about time to change classes, and my stomach kind of subsided from pain and all that. As I stood up, I just so happened to look down. Actually, for no reason, something told me, look down. My gray chair now had pink and red swirls on it. My period had started for the first time in my life. I saw the girl come in that had that seat after me, and I was like, oh no, just kind of looking really quickly between her and my seat, and I could not think. The right thing for me to have done would have been just clean it up. But that did not come into my head because I was panicking so bad. So she came up to my desk and was like, oh my god, is this blood? And I was like, I don't know. And I booked it. I booked it to my next class. And then I know she went to go get tissues and clean it up. And it doesn't end there. It gets worse. So it was about time for recess. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, girl, listen, I started my period, I don't have a pad, this is my first one ever, I don't even have a jacket to put around my waist. And then she's like, do you want my jacket? And I was like, no, this is period blood, that's nasty. And she's like, I don't mind, I'll just say that my dog had babies and blood on my jacket. And I was like, dude, I'll feel really bad. I really appreciate it. She's like, take my jacket. Take it. Because we still have one more class left after this. And I was like, thank you so much. So we went out to recess, and the whole day I just bled out on her jacket. And it got heavier throughout the day, so I felt awful. And I was like, I will take your jacket home and wash it for you. She's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, thank you so much. So that happened, and it was time to go home, and I told my mom what happened, that my period had started, and I bled out on a friend's jacket. I bled on the seat at school. That was my first period horror story. Next period horror story, to the guy I went to prom with in 2014. If you are watching this, I am so sorry. It was predicted that my period was supposed to be 2 weeks before prom, and that's what it was marked on my calendar. So I was expecting it 2 weeks before prom, and it didn't come. I skipped it, and I was like, oh my god, my period's not here today. Where is it at? Why am I not bleeding? I hung out with my homegirl. Me and her were just looking at prom dresses, trying to get an idea, because it was 2 weeks before prom and we still hadn't chosen our dresses. So I was hanging out with her the first week, and the next week I was getting ready, still wondering what my period was. I was like, alright, I didn't have my period last week, didn't have it this week. It better not show up next week on prom. And so what happened was prom day came around, like we were all glammed up and the guys were looking hot in their suits and whatnot. I was hanging out with my date and his best friend. We got in a limo, went out to eat. I didn't eat much, and the thing was, whenever I was getting ready, I noticed that I was like a little pudgy in my stomach. And I used to work out back then, like I did sit-ups, and I was like, where did this pudge come from? Like, I don't eat, I exercise, like how? And I was not cramping, and I did not show any signs of period at all, I guess, except for the bloating. At prom, you know, I was having fun. Still no symptoms of a period, wasn't hurting, except for my feet. We were dancing, you know, the typical prom stuff. So after that, me and my girls, we went to the bathroom to take selfies and all that kind of stuff. And then we all said our goodbyes, left prom, and my girl Destiny, she came over to my house to stay the night. And so we threw off our dresses and got into our pajamas, and I went to the bathroom because I was over at the drinks. I was back and forth between the dance floor and the drinks. So I went to the bathroom whenever I got home and changed and all that kind of stuff. I noticed that there was blood, like a puddle of blood, in my undies. And those were the ones that I was wearing to prom. Like, oh my god, I started my period at prom! Like, that would have legit been blood on the dance floor. That could have been. I could have bled on my date. I could have bled on my dress. I could have bled on everything. So this last period story, it was kind of recent. It was whenever I was traveling from Charlotte to Los Angeles. You can already see where this is going. It started on the Greyhound. Started the second day. I went from Charlotte to Atlanta, and as soon as I arrived in Atlanta, I had about an hour layover. So I was like, I'm hungry. I haven't had anything to eat since this morning. I had about 5 to 7 chips with some tea. And I was starving. I had a headache. And so I was like to this lady, can you watch my bags for me? I'm just going to go over to the concession stand and get something to eat. She's like, yeah, sure. Take your time. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got a little fruit cup and a water cup. And I didn't see the water anywhere, so I just got Sprite. So, sorry. I'm not one of those people who get soda in water cups. I just couldn't find the water. I just thought I was super hungry and that I would feel better after eating some fruit and drinking something to get some hydration and some sort of nutrients in me. That wasn't the case. I took 3 bites out of that entire cup. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't eat anymore for whatever reason. I started shaking. I was cold and I was hot at the same time. I noticed myself getting pale because I looked at myself in the phone's, like the screen of my phone, and I called my mom. She's like, do you need me to come pick you up? Like, I was 3 hours away from home. She's like, I will drive to Atlanta to pick you up. I was like, Mom, no, it's okay. I gotta go through with this. I want to go back to LA. I want to be with my boyfriend. You know, boyfriend at the time. Whatever. But, you know, I was telling her about what was going on, and she's like, well, just try to eat some more. Try to drink, try to get some stuff into you. And I was like, okay, I'll let you go. I'll let you know how I feel in about 20 minutes. And she's like, okay. So I tried eating more, and I picked up the fork, and I instantly felt nauseous, and I put it right back down. So I called my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, hey, I feel like shit. Like, I'm doing all this and that, you know, I'm shaking, cold, I'm hot, my head hurts. I feel like I'm just going to die. Like, I'm going to collapse. Like, I wish I could just sleep. Like, I just want to go to bed. I want to go to a hotel and sleep. He's like, you know what? If you really don't want to come, you don't have to. And I was like, no. I'm gonna come. I want to come. I want to be with you. I want to go back to LA. I want to do this. I'm going to do this. Finally, after that little argument, we got off the phone, and I still had about 50 minutes left in my layover. And then I fell asleep on my Pikachu and my suitcases for a good 20 minutes. And Like, I was okay, kinda, but then they started calling for the line, or like the zones or whatever, like after 30 minutes or something like that. They started calling for our zones to get us on the bus, and as soon as I stood up, like I wasn't shaking anymore after that little nap, but as soon as I stood up, all those symptoms came right back, and I called him. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I was like legit shaking like this, like I could not stop. It was all in my legs, and I'm pretty sure some people noticed. It's just I was trying to hide my legs with my suitcase because it looked like I couldn't even hold up my own weight. It was that bad. I walked and got onto the bus, and I was going from Atlanta to Phoenix. On my way there, we got to Alabama or Mississippi, one of those. And I was in the stall using the bathroom because I hadn't used the bathroom all day. I was like, I should probably go. And I stood up, looked down to flush the toilet, and the water was just red. Blood red. And I was like, oh shit. This period was also unpredicted. It was not planned for that week. It came early. So that kind of fucked me up because I couldn't change my clothes because the breaks weren't that long. They really weren't. They were about 5 minutes. And I didn't have any pads on me because, like I said, it was unpredicted. And I know it's a smart thing to carry around pads, but I did not have any. So, and like I looked around at the stores, like the gas stations or whatever. All they had was like panty liners, and I didn't have, the money on me for that. So I had to like put tissue paper, like toilet paper, in my undies to save me. And like luckily it wasn't heavy like it normally would be, It was blood, but it wasn't heavy. So throughout my trip from like Alabama, Mississippi, the rest of the way there, I would go to the bathroom every single time and just try to get out as much blood as I possibly could so it wouldn't get on my shorts any more than it already was. And when I got to Texas that next day, I was feeling much better. And luckily that night when I was traveling from Alabama to Texas, I had 2 seats to myself, so I laid the fuck down. I slept, and I slept good. So I had my period on the Greyhound, and I had no pads. I was just sitting there bleeding on toilet paper in my undies. That was the worst so far. And I don't want another one like that. Now that I have learned my lesson, I have brought pads with me everywhere ever since. Because I'm not going to let that happen again. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. That was my period horror stories. I hope you enjoyed because it was embarrassing for me. But hey, it happens. So, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys soon.